G'day everyone, Heath from the Antipodean D20 here. Sorry about the little wait there, a couple of little tweaks I needed to finish doing, as is the problem when you're a one-man band here doing this. So thank you for sticking with it and hanging around. I see we've got 5 people watching. Thank you very much. Yes, indeed. So we're here, we're ready to go. This is part of HawaiiCon. So I should say aloha and g'day. We are reading through Lone Wolf Book 4. I didn't have anyone join me live on stream. I'm not sure whether you can still sign up for a badge and a ticket and do that at the moment, but you're quite welcome to hang around and watch and comment and as we read through Book 4, Chasm of Doom. Now that's actually my copy of Book 4 when I was a kid, bought in the late 80s, early 90s. It's just holding together, the covers coming off a little bit there, but it is indeed my copy of Book 4, a little handwritten in there. We won't be using this one. We'll be using Project Aeon's online copy, thanks to Joe and his Millennium gift. Let's see if we can pop that up here. Oh, there is the late great Joe Diva at Luca Games for Lupo Solitario. Thank you so much, Joe. Alrighty, so we are, as the splash page said, this is Chasm of Doom. So, and you can see all the alt covers there: the early Beaver books, the Sparrow books, the Red Fox book, and the Pacer Berkeley US cover as well there. Let's go into comments and have a look. So we've got Eric. G'day, Eric. We've got Mark. G'day, Galoha. Galoha. Yeah, I love it. Galoha. Oh dear. Alrighty. Let me just pull up Project Aeon here and share the cover. Share the screen in. I normally have this ready to go, but like I said, I've been chasing my tail a little bit this morning. So there it is there, the Chasm of Doom. Now, apparently I'm able to move this around a little bit. I'm not sure how to do that yet, but anyway, so that's fine. Let's go in there. Let's make let's see. Can we make that a little bit bigger? That's 250 zoom. Let's have a look here. There we go. That makes it a little bit easier to read for everyone, including myself. I have with me my phone here set up as my mobile one. Let's just click it in there. We'll just drop that out for a second. As you can see, I've got now this is made by a local business, Scorched Earth Design, and this is a Q Workshop Dwarven D10. So that's what we'll be rolling today. So I'll pop Scorched Earth in that. So let's put dice tray from not Scotch, Scorched Earth Designs. We'll pop that up in the chat. So there we go. Alrighty. Let's say g'day, Ian. We've got Ian, one of our local gamebook group guys. All right, so we'll get right into this in just a moment. So that's where we are. I'll drop that back out. Let's add that back in. Take that away. Alrighty, so we've got Eric here. We've got Mark with Galoha. We've got Ian. I've got to make sure I start clicking this to show in the stream as well, because it's nice when you guys chat, and I'm very, very thankful when you guys chat and let me know who's there, and especially when it comes to decision time, because I mean, I can make the decision, but it's always good to have some feedback as well. Now, I've misplaced all of my my physical copies of my previous, so I handwrite my action chart, so I've misplaced that, but I do have a backup. Let's see, Oberon says, I only listened to a bit of this as I'm still working through Book 3. Well, you better chop, buddy. Get Vonatar and get back to Summerland. Alrighty. So I have a copy here of it. So combat skill is 15 with a boost to 27 with all of the skills, like the sword gives you bonus, so your skills give you bonus. So endurance point 8. We have skills 6th sense. So I'm just going to quickly write this down, and then we can get right into it. Healing. I had all this written out. I have no idea where I've put it in my franticness this morning. My son's gone off to his swimming lesson. My wife's taken him to that, and I moved a bunch of stuff, and I have misplaced a bunch of stuff, but it's all right. I'm only frantic because I'm a little bit behind. I'm not frantic because this is daunting and everyone's watching. Hunting, animal kinship. Let's see, we've got mind over matter. So while I'm doing this, I just for those who are not in the know and are not normally Lone Wolf fans, the late great Joe Deaver, who passed away in late 2016, was involved with the Game Workshop and some of the behind the scenes stuff with Steve Jackson and Ian Livingston with Fighting Fantasy. Not directly with them, but because of Game Workshop knew. Joe was also a musician, and in the late 70s, early 80s, he found himself in LA, and he'd found Dungeons and Dragons and Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, and he'd found this, and he enjoyed playing that, and he'd actually written the whole Lone Wolf thing as a homebrew for AD&D, and having seen the success of Ian and Steve's Fighting Fantasy series, wanted to that had obviously it intrigued him. So in 1982, he won the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons Championship in LA. So the first time someone from Britain had won this, and that, I think, cemented to him that he was on on a roll. And fast forward a little bit, 1984. Book 1 and Book 2, Flight from the Dark and Fire in the Water get released. Now, he had originally written them as a one book, and it got sort of separated into the two. He released them, and it was it differed from Fighting Fantasy. Fighting Fantasy, it was a different style, different setting, different character each book. Lone Wolf, Joe wanted to present it as a linear storyline where you took your character from one book to the next, and I think he's done that quite successfully, and that's why I'm frantically writing down what happened here so that we've got that for another time. This time. So I'm just making sure that, okay, so I'll come back to those when we get to it. Alrighty. So let's see, we've got some comments here. Mark, you got this, buddy. Cheers, Mark. Ian says, Size Screen is a must. Now, Size Screen is a Magna Chi discipline, which is the next set after Book 5, starting from Book 6. So in this, we've got Mind Shield, which, yes, we do have, Ian. Eric says, did you select Healing? Yes, we do. It was the second skill that we took. Before I get into that, let's get into the actual screen, and we'll go through this. So you are Lone Wolf, last of the Kai Lords. To the south of your homeland of Summerland lies the rich but remote mining province of Ruanon, where when a regular shipment of gold suddenly vanishes, the king dispatches a patrol of his best cavalry to investigate the suspected theft. They do not return. In the Chasm of Doom, you are sent to recover the missing gold and locate the lost patrol, but you soon discover that it is a mission of dire consequence, for the fate of your country is at stake. There we go. So that's what we're going to play today. So a little bit of info here about Joe. So as you can see, worked in the music industry, 1974, 77, went to LA. So there we go, D&D, 1982 at Origins. Okay, at Origins won Advanced Dungeons & Dragons World Championship. It was in Baltimore. Okay, I thought it was in LA. He was in LA. Oh, there we go. Look at that. I've corrected myself. 1983, after a brief spell at Games Workshop, wrote Flight from the Dark. Okay, so That book sold more than 100,000 copies in the first month, which is really cool. And there it is. So 28 books, although Ben, his son, is now working on the newer books, 29, 30, 31, 32. There we go. Gary Chalk. Gary did the art for the first 8 Lone Wolf books. And we all know his artwork in one form or another. So not that we'll spin over Gary, we just need to keep moving with this. So let's go forward. Okay, dedication. Go forward. Acknowledgements. So we normally would read through this. Unfortunately, today I'm just going to skip forward. Please visit Project Aon, AON.org. If someone wants to throw that up in the chat, I'll pin it underneath for the moment. So the story so far. Ruanon is a remote mining province to the south of your homeland, Summerland. Nestling between the sullen peaks of the Derncrag and Marken Mountains, the people of this province have long prospered from their toil in the ore-rich mines, living and enjoying their wealth under the protection of their lord, Baron Vanaland. The gold and gems that are mined at Ruanon yield an important source of revenue to your homeland. The heavily guarded convoy of wagons that leave the province and journey to the capital has become a regular monthly routine. A routine that had never been broken until 1 month ago, when suddenly all contact with Ruanon ceased. A troop of 100 cavalry from the King's Guard was immediately dispatched to investigate the whereabouts of the missing convoy. Their commanding officer, Captain Duval, was ordered to report back to the King as soon as contact was made, but he and his men have not returned. They too have disappeared without trace. The King has summoned you, Lone Wolf, last of the Kai Lords, to his citadel at Holmgard. Your quest is to find Captain Duval and his men, discover what has happened to the missing convoy, and to uncover the veil of mystery that now hangs over Ruanon. The King has gathered a company of border rangers, a unit of elite scouts, all of whom are skilled in horsemanship and outdoor survival. He has ordered these 50 men to accompany you in the hope that, with your leadership, they may succeed where the larger and more visible force failed. As you and your men enter the Royal Armoury to equip yourselves for the long ride ahead, you glimpse back a black crow perched on a window ledge high above. It flies away, but not before a shiver has run down your spine. In Holmgard, the crow is a bird of ill omen. So that's it there. Let's just pop in here. I think someone sent a message. Okay, that's not to do with this. That's fine. Let's pop over. Thank you. Thank you, Eric. So yeah, projectaon.org. So that's where we're reading this Lone Wolf book from. Let's see. I'm just going to quickly check to see if there's any messages through here of any sort. Nope. Okay. So let's get into it. So the game rules. Okay, you have unlike D&D, or most other RPGs, where you have a few different stats. In Lone Wolf, you basically have 2. The combat skill, which is your fighting prowess, and your physical stamina, which is your endurance, as we see before. Now, our combat skill is 15, but with some pluses like our weapon skill, which gives us 2 to the combat skill. The sword gives us 8, I believe, because it's like a holy weapon sort of thing. And we also get 2 from what was it? We got 2 from something else. That's right. We're wearing a silver helmet that we found in the last book, and that gives us 2 to our combat skill. Okay, so we don't need to roll anything random through here because we've already selected them. If you have successfully completed any of the previous adventures in the Lone Wolf series, you have already got combat skill, endurance, blah blah blah. You may also carry over any weapons or special items that you held at the end of your adventure. These should be entered onto your new action chart. You are still limited to 2 weapons and 8 backpack items. Okay, so with that, we have. In the weapon section, we had a sword and a dagger. Now, the summer sword, which is his holy sword, kind of does sit alongside that because it is a a special item. So I've followed the kind of the book rules by that. Just writing some of the items into here that we have. So summer sword, +8 +10. Now these pluses work a little bit different to D&D. +8 +10 may seem like a lot, where it is essentially in Lone Wolf, but it's not. It doesn't directly translate to the same stat bump that you would have. This would probably be the equivalent of a +3 or a +4 sword in your D&D. So we had blue stone triangle. We had a fire sphere, silver helm, +2 combat skill. We had a diamond, but I think we might leave that behind. In the backpack, we had some healing potions and some meals in that. So we'll pop that in there. Meal. Lumspur +5 endurance points. We had the second one of that, Lumspur +5 EP. We had some Aletha. Now, Aletha is like a little berry that gives, like, basically your guarana boost berry type thing, where you have it and you feel a bit better and up and going where you have at them. So we'll do that. We had a rope. Now I'm just wondering whether we leave that rope behind or not. We also had 18 gold coins. All right, let me jump back in out of that. So I'm glad I sent someone a photo of the old sheet. Okay, so let's okay, next one. Now, every time you complete a book, you get an extra skill. We started with book 1 with 5 out of the 10 skills, and every time we completed a book, we went and acquired a new skill. Like, it's basically through your adventure, you start unlocking these things within your brain with that. So we have at present 7 skills that we use to, as 7 out of the 10 we use to finish book 3. So here we are, book 4, we get to choose another one. So the 10 skills are camouflage. Now I won't read these. I'll just basically give you a wrap up. So camouflage, basically blending in, whether in the country or a town, allows you to blend in. Hunting, fairly self-explanatory for food. Excuse me, but you can also travel fast through the countryside. You know, you can leave very little sign of yourself, that sort of thing. So sixth sense. Now, this is your spidey sense. This is something. Sometimes, you know, you'll get an option where you can, if you have sixth sense, which we do, you get the choice to use it, and you know, it alerts you to not necessarily just danger, but something strange or you know, something that you wouldn't ordinarily see. Excuse me. Tracking. So this also is sort of like your hunting, but more focused on finding your way, knowing where the path is, reading secret signs. You sort of your overlander skill. Let's see. Healing. Pretty self-explanatory. Now, healing works a little bit different in Lone Wolf to what it does for Dungeons and Dragons. D&D clerics have healing spells, which after they've rested and recouped, they've got their spells back. Healing with Lone Wolf, it kind of balances out a bit more in the sense of every numbered section we read through without combat, we get to heal 1 point. Now, that can sometimes happen quite rapidly, and that seems like a lot. You know, you could have space of 5 sections read, and it could only be 5 minutes past, but you've healed 5 of your hit points, your endurance points. Other sections, it could the section could read, you know, you travel for several hours, you still only get to heal that 1 point. So it kind of does balance out a little bit, but it also enables you to heal yourself if you get poisoned. You've got to do a series of rolls, and you know, any healing stuff helps with that. If you come across someone they're injured, your healing skill enables you to, like the paladin skill in D&D, lay on hands. So it's quite useful, and it was one of the first skills that we selected when we started book 1. Weapon skill, fairly self-explanatory. It's your ability with weapons. There's a little a picture of the 9 weapons, because sword appears twice. Anyone who's played through understands why sword appears twice, because you get an additional weapon after book 5 when you start book 6, the Magna Kai. This is sort of just the Kai series 1 through 5. 6 to 12 is the Magna Kai, and you get another weapon in there in place of one of the swords. Mind shield. Now this is basically stops anyone from attacking you with the power of their mind. Sort of, like some psychic blast, which, as you can see underneath, mind blast is the counterpoint to mind shield that enables you to attack someone with your mind. And that where you're able to, that will also add 2 points to your combat skill. Animal kinship. Basically, you become Dr. Dolittle. You can communicate with the animals. You can get them to help you with various things. Mind over matter. Again, fairly self-explanatory. You get to move things with the power of your mind. That may be throwing small rocks. That may be unlocking locks. That may be little things like that. So that's the 10 of them. We have to choose one. So coming back up here, we've got camouflage, which we don't have. So camouflage. Hunting we do have. Sixth sense we do have. Tracking we don't. So camouflage and tracking. Healing we do have. Weapon skill we do have. Mind shield we do have. Mind blast we don't. So there's the third one. Animal kinship, mind over matter we do. So mind blast, camouflage, and tracking. Now, considering that we're going into an area that is rugged, camouflage or tracking may be a useful thing. Mind blast also may be a useful thing. So I'm just going to drop back into the comments and see what people are saying rather. So what have we got here? Eric's saying never leave without a rope. So maybe we'll put the rope on there. Ian says, just remember all the stuff that Bear Grylls does with parachute cord. That's very true. Mark says, I just got to step away for a bit. Yep, no problem, Mark. We'll be here for a while. Ian says tracking. We could definitely look at tracking. Just jumping into one of the other chats there to see who's out and about. So I've got comments from a few different areas here. We're streaming to not only Facebook Live, we're streaming to Twitch, and we're streaming to YouTube. So I'm just trying to, get all of the platforms as covered as best I can. I'm just quickly checking other spots here for other comments. Eric says Mind Blast. So we've got a vote for tracking. We've got a vote for Mind Blast. I'm just going to note down rope on the backpack, and that takes up 2 item spaces from memory. Alrighty. B. Oh. Okay, sorry. Alrighty. So we've got a vote for tracking, a vote for Mind Blast. Should we flip a coin or roll a dice or something like that? I don't want to leave it too long. We should be into the adventure by now. Let's bring up the dice. What do you say? Oh, well, we've got 2 suggestions, tracking and Mind Blast. Tracking, I'm going to make odd. Mind Blast, I'm going to make even. Oh, the dice jumped out of the tray. That's handy. What's that? That is not a 9. That is a 6. What did I say they were? Tracking was odds. Mind Blast was even. I think I said. Let's see. Yeah. So let's say Mind Blast. We'll go with Eric's suggestion. Mind Blast. Sorry, Ian. Tracking next time, mate. So Mind blast. Okay, so we'll bring this down here. You can see I'm handwriting everything. Some strange thing with StreamYard, if I put that up, it kind of disappears. You can see that I'm wearing my vintage Lone Wolf shirt here. This is a vintage, StreamYard, figure your green screen out. This is a vintage Lone Wolf shirt from the 80s, given to me by awesome friend Richard Penwarden, because he had two. His mum bought him two, and he is just as surprised as I am that I fit into into this shirt. He wore this shirt, and this is the beautiful thing. This man is awesome. He wore this shirt when he met Joe Diva at DragonCon in London for the first time. He wore this shirt and he gave me this shirt. So I just thank you so much. Because it's HawaiiCon, I'm wearing my GaryCon Hawaii shirt, a Hawaiian shirt. Gary was a big lover of all things Hawaiian. Alrighty, so we have our skill selected. We're going to go in, scroll down. Okay, so the next book after is called Shadow on the Sand. We won't go to that just yet, but we can carry this stuff over and choose a new skill for Shadow on the Sand. We will do Shadow on the Sand in the next couple of weeks. Equipment. So we have been given a map of the Southlands. So if we go to this, so there is the Southlands. So I'll just write in the special section map. So if you look at the left-hand side, top left-hand side, you can see Homeguard. That's the capital of the land we're from. There's a path that comes down here called the Path of Moitura, and that follows down to this big sort of chasm here, hint, and a little place there called Ruanon, and that's where we're heading. Let's see if I can zoom in on this a bit more. There we go. So Ruanon, and that is the Muckin Gorge, that big sort of chasm there. Okay, so let's scroll back out. Let's go back. Okay, so we get some more gold, random number table, or we can use our dice here. So we will pick up the dice and let's roll it. So that's an 8. So we get to add 10 to that, 18. We've already got 18, so we've got 36 gold. So we've got a nice little purse of gold to head out with. We also get to carry. We also get to pick up to 6 of the following. Okay, so a warhammer we don't need. We're not skilled in warhammer. We're skilled in sword. We've got broadsword. We've got a sword. Don't need to worry about the warhammer. Dagger. We have a dagger. 2 potions of Lumspor that restore 4 endurance points. Now we've got 2 potions of Lumspor that heal us for 5 each. So we probably don't need to worry about that. A sword, well, like the broadsword and the dagger, we're good. Same with the spear. Rations and meals. Now, we have a meal in our backpack. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, plus a rope counts as 2 items. So we have 6 in our backpack that allows for 8. We've got 2 spots left. So meals are definitely a fun thing to think about. We do have hunting, but sometimes you can't always use hunting, or you may need to offer one of your men a meal or something, or a person you meet. A mace we don't need. Chainmail waistcoat. Now this adds 4 endurance points to your total. Maybe that's an idea. And a shield. Now, Ian did say shield earlier, so maybe a shield adds 2 to your combat skill. So maybe a shield is a possibility. So shield, chainmail waistcoat, and maybe a couple of meals. I think that is pretty much a no-brainer as to what we're going to pick to take with us. Okay, so let's go down here. So shield adds 2 to your combat skill. So let's put on here shield. Plus 2 CS, so up here in the temporary, I'm going to make that 29. And then we've also got this chainmail waistcoat. Adds 4 to your endurance. Now, I've never really been sure with if that's like temporary hit points in D&D where they get taken first or what, I don't know. But what we'll do is we'll make a note that we've got effectively 32 endurance points. So we're pretty good. And let's note down a couple of meals. and our backpack is now full. So that was a fairly easy pick of what to take. So how to carry equipment, we don't need to worry about that for the moment. So just so everyone knows, weapons, 2 weapons. Unfortunately, fortunately rather, the summer sword counts as a special weapon. Backpack items 8, gold crowns 50. We've got 36. Food carries it as backpack. Okay, now combat we don't need to worry about until we get into a combat. So let's go forward. Rules for combat. I know. Let's spin through that. It's fairly easy. You take your opponent's skill away from your skill. You come up. There's a random number table, in which case we've got a dice and a combat skill table, which we'll deal with when we get to it. So levels of training. So we are now what they call. Let's see. So book 1, you start as an initiate. Book 2, an aspirant. Book 3 is a guardian. Book 4, we are a warman or a journeyman. Just making a note of that. Sometimes you may need to reference that in the adventures. Okay, Kai Wisdom. So basically a pep talk before you start. So we've got the map. There are a couple of ways to get down there. Good luck is the word. And section 1. That's where we're at there for section 1. Alrighty. So now, hang on. Oh, do I need that one anymore? No, don't need that. Don't need that. Don't need that. Don't need that. Got that already. Okay, I can get rid of that now. Excellent. Okay, there's no messages from that. Oh, we've got some people from our Lone Wolf group in Singapore joining us as well. Fantastic. Alrighty, what I might do, and this will opportunity for everyone as well, I'm just going to drop out of the stream for literally 2 minutes. This is a perfect point for anyone who wants to take a bio break or grab yourself a drink, which I'm about to do, and I will literally be back in 2 minutes. Okay. Alrighty, thank you very much for that. A little brief intermission to anyone who needed it, especially myself. Alrighty, let us get into the adventure. So, we are playing Lone Wolf Book 4, The Chasm of Doom. For 3 days you lead your brave company of rangers across the lush plains of southern Summerland on the first stage of your urgent mission, the flat treeless fields surround you with a seemingly endless expanse of wheat, so high that even though you are in the saddle, it reaches well above your knees. That's big wheat. Your horses seem to be swimming through a vast yellow sea of corn that is only interrupted by the occasional track or a group of isolated farmhouses. The Southerners welcome your sudden appearance, but you only make the briefest of stops for food and rest, neither wishing to risk becoming a burden nor alarm these good people with your mission. By noon on the fourth day, you reach the pass of Moitura. Here the plains give way to the broken foothills of the Derncrag Mountains. You soon reach a highway, the surface cracked and full of potholes, heading off towards the south. This is the notorious Ruanon Pike. South of the pass, the Ruanon Pike crosses 100 miles of open territory known as Raiders Road. Bandit tribes from the Wildlands and Giak war bands from the mountains of the west frequently ambush those who travel along the pike, and the regular shipment of gold and gems from the mines of Ruanon have sometimes yielded. Point and flankers, you shout, and immediately 3 groups of rangers peel away from the column and point their horses to spur their horses to a gallop. You watch with pride as the expert horsemen take up their scouting positions to the front and sides of the company. It is late afternoon when a ranger scout approaches the company for the west. He points towards a craggy outcrop where a thin spiral of wood smoke betrays a hut hidden beneath the overhanging rock. And there it is. There's a little wisp of smoke. If you wish to investigate the hut, turn to 160. If you wish to ignore the hut and continue on your ride along the Ruanon Pike, turn to 273. Alrighty, so this is our first point. If anyone is new to Lone Wolf, thank you for joining us. This is kind of what Lone Wolf does in a game book. It's similar, it's like a boiled down D&D adventure where there's a bit of dialogue and we're presented with a few choices to make. Now, I've played this before, obviously, and I think for the sake of expediency, we might just go towards the hut because I know that is an important thing to do. An escort of 5 rangers accompany you along the twisting narrow track that leads to the hut. The rough stone walls are covered with a damp moss into which is set a curious oval door. There are no windows. You have dismounted and are approaching the door when suddenly a man's voice calls from inside the hut. "Come in, Lone Wolf. I've been expecting you." If you wish to open the door and enter, 84. If you wish to draw your weapon and kick open the door, 205. If you wish to send your rangers into the hut, 306. Okay, so what do people think? We're going to we're going to walk in, we're going to kick the door in, and we're going to send the guys in ahead of us to figure out what's what. While we're doing that, I'm just going to have a Alrighty, so I reckon we just open the door. See, this is one of the situations where I think Sixth Sense would be good. Ian saying open the door yourself. Yeah, I reckon that's what we do, bud. Let's open the door. In the dim light of the interior, you see an old man seated at a table. The flicker of a log fire is all that illuminates this foul-smelling hovel, yet it sheds enough light for you to see the clutter of charts and strange instruments that crowd the hut. The man slowly raises his gaze from a large crystal sphere and bids you sit opposite him. "You know my name? How?" you ask warily. "The stars foretold our meeting long ago, Lone Wolf," he replies, slowly passing his withered old hands around the sphere. "Be not alarmed by my knowledge, for I wish only to aid you." He produces a small scroll of parchment from within his robe, and he hands it to you. Upon the scroll is written the following verse, and you'll have to forgive me if I kind of, there he is there, so that's the dude there. When the full moon shines over the temple deep, a sacrifice will stir from sleep the legions of a long-forgotten lord. When a fair royal maiden on the altar dies, the dead of the Macan gorge shall rise to claim their long-awaited reward. You ask the meaning of the strange verse, but the old man does not answer you. He seems to have fallen into a deep trance. You lean across the cluttered table to awaken him and are shocked to see your hand pass straight through his body. Gradually, his image begins to fade. Within seconds, he has disappeared completely. You place the scroll in your pocket. Mark this as a special item on your chart. So I'm just writing prophecy scroll. So if we just write scroll and we pick up a different scroll, we're going to get them mixed up. Alrighty, 273. Let's see. You have ridden less than 5 miles when you see a group of wagons on the highway ahead. They are painted in a gaudy mix of bright colors and drawn by teams of oxen. A huge tasseled banner flies above the leading wagon, which bears the following proclamation. The famous Assagia players, troubadours, to the imperial courts of Magnamund. If you wish to stop and question these traveling minstrels, 37. If you wish to ignore them and let them pass, 126. Well, let's have a chat with them, see what they've seen along the way. Maybe they have seen the people we're looking for, Captain Duval. You signal the driver to stop. The wagons halt, and a small moon-faced man in a bright pink tunic throws open the rear door of the leading carriage. He shouts and curses the driver as he descends the ladder, pausing only to adjust the cummerbund that barely covers his huge stomach. Seeing your men, he lets out a strangled shriek and fumbles for a short sword hanging by his side. "Bandits! Robbers!" he cries, and wrestles to free his sword from its ornate scabbard. A row of anxious faces appear at the wagon windows, but the expression soon change to a smile when they recognize your Sumlending uniforms. "Calm yourself, Yisu," shouts an elderly woman. "They are Sumlending rangers. They will not steal your gold." Laughter ripples along the carriages as the little fat man suddenly unsheaths his sword with such a force that he spins around and tumbles to the ground. So there's a poor fellow there. No, and his shoes come off too. Oh, and he's lost all his money and comb out of his pocket by the look of it. And that's classic Gary Chalk artwork right there. So, "You must forgive Yisu," says the old woman. "He means you no harm. Raider's Road has made him a nervous wreck." You question the old woman, asking her where they have come from and their destination. You learn that they are a troop of players and have journeyed from many miles from their native land of Cloesia in the east. They last played for the people of Eshnar, but it was a disappointing show. It seemed that the town was as quiet as the grave. Those who did not come to see them were those who did, come to see them were a sad and sorry crowd. They are now bound for Homeguard and hopefully a more appreciative audience. "Light is fading," remarks the old woman. "Perhaps you and your men will camp with us tonight. We would deem it an honor, and would be happy to entertain you all with songs and dancing." You notice a hopeful look in the eyes of your men as they await your decision. If you wish to set up camp with the troubadours, if you decide to press on to Ruinon. Well, it seems like a fun bunch. So certainly we can, if there's any bandits, we can offer support in looking after them in exchange for some fun. So let's bunk down with the troubadours. The wagons are drawn into a circle and you set up camp inside. A ranger is posted to patrol the perimeter. The troubadours construct a small stage onto which strides Yisu. He calls for silence before announcing the title of their play, The Brave Warriors of Summerland, a choice that meets with the hearty approval of your men. During their performance, you notice something very odd. Not only is one of the actors using a real sword, but it is a type of sword only issued to officers of the Sumlending cavalry. After the play, you approach the man to question him about the sword. He looks at you nervously and makes a dash for the darkness of the perimeter wagons. Oi, what's going on here? If you wish to give chase and have either the Kai discipline of tracking or hunting, turn to 332. If you do not possess these skills but still wish to give chase, 58. If you decide to let him go and return to your men, 163. Now we don't have tracking, we do have hunting. So let's go to 332. Although the wagons are shrouded in darkness, your Kai sense reveals to you that reveals to you the actor's hiding place. You climb the ladder at the rear of the caravan, push open the door with your weapon, and enter. In the plush candlelit interior of the caravan, you find the actor cowering beneath a blanket in the far corner. You flick the blanket aside and ask the petrified man to explain how he came to possess such a fine weapon. I bought it in Eshna, he stammers, his eyes wide with fear. From the innkeeper of the Pick and Shovel Tavern. He grasps the sword by the blade and offers it to you. If it is your sword I have unwittingly bought, I am truly sorry. Here, please take it. You grip the brass hilt and examine it closely. There is no doubt it is a Sumlending cavalry sword, but the inscription on the blade makes your heart miss a beat. Captain Ramir Duval, King's Guard Regiment. If you wish to keep this sword, mark the Captain Duval's sword on your action chart as a weapon, which we're going to keep. We have a sword. We're going to leave that sword with this troubadour, and we're going to mark on there Captain Duval's sword, because hopefully we can find him intact and we can return it, because wouldn't that be a cool thing to do? Turn to 165. You return to the troubadour stage in time for a meal that has been prepared by your hosts. The steaming broth smells most appetizing. If you wish to accept the meal, if you decline the meal, you must eat a meal from your backpack, because obviously it's too late to go hunting. I reckon we'll accept the meal. These guys seem like they're on the up and up. The food is delicious. You eat your fill and then make your preparations for a good night's sleep. At dawn, you and your company bid farewell to the travelling players and continue on your mission to Ruinon. Pick a number from the random number table, in which case we're going to use our dice. So let's just bring up the dice tray again here. So we're not doing anything in particular. So usually this random number thing is just basically seeing what happens along the way to us. Not so hard, Heath, you're making it jump out the dice tray. Okay, so we've rolled a 6. So we'll click the bottom one there. 5 to 9, 171. Mile after mile, you ride across the flat and desolate landscape surrounding the Ruinon Pike. You have entered the wildlands south of the pass of Moitura and cannot use the Kai discipline of hunting to hunt for food in this desolate area. Okay, so it's a good thing we didn't use our food. We took the offered food. Yet in spite of the uninspiring view, your men seem in fine spirits. They sing rousing marching songs to relieve the tedium of the journey and help to allay fears of what may lie ahead. During the afternoon, storm clouds gather above the peaks of the Dern Crag Mountains to the west, and the roll of distant thunder warns of imminent rain. It is late afternoon when your scouts sight a coaching tavern on the highway ahead. It is a large stone building that has been fortified. If you wish to stop at the tavern for the night, 63. If you decide to brave a possible storm and continue to ride south, 141. All right, so what do people think? We're going to see if we can stop here for the night, or we're going to continue through the weather. So I'll give you all a beat or two to see what. Why am I not showing up on the stream there? That's interesting. For some reason can people still hear me? My image seems to have disappeared. That's very weird. Can everyone still hear me? It seems like my camera has stopped working. Can hear, not see. Okay. That's interesting. Okay. Where has the video feed gone? Oh God, that's the last thing we need. Where has the video feed gone? All right. Okay, give me half a tick. Camera. That's very weird. Okay, we can see the dice tray. That's very weird. Okay. That's very weird. Okay. Well, I'm not sure what the solution is short term. If you can still hear me, that's good. Okay, I'm just going to put no, we'll keep going. You can hear me. That's the main thing. I'll figure out the camera later. Alrighty, so let's see if the tavern will do anything for us. The sound of a tolling bell drifts across the barren landscape. Window shutters slam down, but eyes still peer at you from arrow slits carved into the walls. You draw your company to a halt outside the wide tavern doors. We are some lending. We seek shelter for the night and fodder for our mounts, you shout. There is a long pause before a voice answers your call. So another random number required. 9. What proof have we that you're not bandits in stolen uniforms? What can you say or do that will convince them that you speak the truth? If you wish to say that you are a Kai Lord and that your men are border rangers of Summerland, if you wish to show them your badge of rank. All right, so what do we think? We're going to tell them who we are or show them who we are? So what do you think? Should we tell them who we are or should we show them our badge of rank? We might just tell them that Kai Lord. Go away, shouts a nervous voice. We're a tavern, not a barracks, shouts another. You try to reason with them, but they are adamant. They will not let you enter. You have no choice but to continue. Oh, well, that's great. Oh, well. Let's continue 141. Okay, you have not ridden far when a storm cloud breaks directly overhead and torrential rain crashes down. Within minutes, the dry and dusty highway is transformed into a quagmire. It will soon be impossible to set up camp in the storm, so you resolve to continue to ride all night in the hope that the storm will soon pass. During the night ride, you must eat a meal or lose 3 endurance points. Okay, so we've got a meal, so we'll cross that off. By morning, the rain has ceased, but you and your men are now very tired from the ordeal. Turn to 253. You are about to order your men to make camp when a scout gallops towards you from the east. He points to a line of horsemen on the horizon. Bandits, he cries. You estimate that there are at least 200 of them, and they are riding in your direction. Bloomin' 200. If you have reached the Kai rank of Warman, you possess 8 skills, 72. If you've yet to reach this, so we have done that because this is a way of sort of, it's a little subtle marketing thing with Joe. It says to people about buying the previous 3 books and playing through them. So, but it also means that your character has evolved and matured. So yes, we are rank of Warman. The flat wildlands offer no cover in which to hide from the bandit horde. You know that if you are to avoid combat with an enemy that vastly outnumbers you, you must split up your company and try to outrun them. You detach a group of 10 rangers to follow you and send the remainder off towards the west in the hope that they may lure the bandits away to the Derncrag Mountains. With one last glance at the enemy, you lead your 10 rangers on a deadly race along the Ruanon Pike. Your tactics have worked. The bandits ignore your small group of horsemen and pursue the others towards the west. Once they reach the wooded foothills of the Derncrag Mountains, your rangers will have no difficulty evading the enemy along the densely packed firs. When the bandits have disappeared from view, you call a halt and allow your men to rest. In spite of the number of men you have lost, they are still eager to continue the mission. Another random number time. So let's pop that up in the stream. 9. After many hours of riding, you reach a highway junction. You have left the wildlands and may once again use the Kai discipline of hunting to hunt for your food. A large signpost indicates 2 destinations, south to Ruanon, 60 miles, and east to Eshnar, 40 miles. Okay, so I'm just going to see if I can sneak back into this and bring up that map. Map. Boom, Southern Summerland. There it is there. Oh. So there we are there. It says Ruanon Forest. There's Eshnar and Ruanon. So we do ultimately want to go towards Ruanon, but saying that Eshnar is closer. Oh, hang on, let's go back into that again. So what I'm just going to cancel that. I was going to save it and bring it up in the other stream, but we'll just leave it in this. This is fine. So Eshnar's closer, but it takes us away from where we need to go. Ruanon's where we're heading, but Eshnar's closer. So what do people think? Let's get back into that section there. All right, so Ian says, go to Eshnar, because the innkeeper, good point. The innkeeper had Captain Duval's sword, so that is a good point. We can go and find out what happened to maybe Captain Duval is in Eshnar. So Eric says Eshnar as well. All right, let's go to Eshnar. So we're going east to Eshnar. It is noon on the following day when you reach the outskirts of Eshnar. To the south, the wooded hills gradually ascend towards the magnificent snow-capped peaks of the Marken Range. It is a beautiful sight, one of stark contrast to the squalor of Eshnar and the desolate wildlands to the north. You ride along the only street in this dilapidated town and eventually arrive outside a large tavern called the Pick and Shovel. Now, that's what we were looking for, the Pick and Shovel. That's where he said he got it. Your men are exhausted and badly in need of food and rest. So, if you have the Kai discipline of 6 cents, 210. If you wish to enter the tavern, 132. If you decide to continue along the street, 301. Okay, so this is an interesting thing that they're proffering up 6 cents right now. Just going to wet my whistle with a bit of this tea. Now, 6 cents would be the obvious thing because we've got it, and usually they prompt you with using it if something's amiss. So I think we will use 6 cents. You have a very uneasy feeling about this town. So far, you have only seen women and children shuffling along the street. There has been no sign of any men whatsoever. The inhabitants all seem nervous and avoid looking you directly in the eye. Instinct tells you to turn around and leave as quickly as possible. If you wish to follow your instincts, turn to 67. If you wish to press on regardless of your instincts, you can investigate the tavern by turning to 132. If you wish to continue along the street, turn to 301. So what do you think, people? Are we going to get out of there because something is triggering the spidey sense? Are we going to sort of ignore that just for the moment and sort of see where this sword came from with with the tavern keeper, the innkeeper at the tavern? Let's have a look. It's starting to bug me that this camera's not working. While you're doing that, what I might do is I'm just going to crawl back under while we're having a look at that choice there. I'm just going to see if I can unplug and plug my camera back in because it's bugging me that there's no video feed. All right. So for whatever reason, this camera just does not want to work. This camera just does not want to work. As long as you can still hear me, we'll keep going. But that's kind of bugged me. I just got this camera the other day. Well, the other day, a couple months ago. Anywho, let's charge on. Alrighty. So are we going to where are we? So we got a sixth sense has given us an uneasy feeling about continuing. So and it's getting we should give us the instinct tells you to turn around and leave as quickly as possible. So we can follow our instincts, we can ignore our instincts and investigate the tavern, or we can continue along the street. So Eric's saying tavern. Ian saying, is this the town of the 200 bandits? Well, I'm not sure. All we've seen so far is women and children. And Eric's not sure. He said, it's forever since I've read one of these. Keep forgetting to pop these up on the little chat there. So Eric says tavern. Ian says this has got lots of people there. Eric's not sure, hasn't played one for a while. And Ian's saying, we'll just have to trust your dice rolls. That's a lot of pressure. Dice rolls aside, are we going to follow instincts, or are we going to investigate the tavern? Well, Eric says tavern. Instincts rule. I'm kind of siding with Ian on this. The instincts, they wouldn't give you the spidey sense unless something was off. So let's follow instincts. 67. Your men are hungry and exhausted, but they possess an unshakable faith in the infallibility of your Kai sense. You give the signal to leave, but as you near the town entrance, you hear a thin whistling noise, and a ranger at your side suddenly screams in agony, and a flat circle of razor-sharp steel embedded in his chest. More of the discs follow, whistling down from the rooftops to claim their victims. One grazes the back of your hand before embedding itself in the neck of your startled horse. Oh, poor horse. You are thrown to the ground and lose 1 endurance point. Okay, so we're down to 31. Oh, God, this is a picture of the ranger. That's right, I remember this now. And then there's that disc that was whistled down like some frisbee from hell. Oh, yeah, oops. That ranger does not look happy. Staggering to your feet, you run half-crouched to the shelter of a wagon. 2 of your men lie dead upon the road, but the others have escaped the ambush and are galloping away from the town, hidden by the rising clouds of dust. You turn to see a bandit warrior standing at a nearby balcony. He is dark-skinned with oily black hair and beard. He flicks his hand and a deadly disc whistles towards your face. If you possess the summer sword, turn to 292. If you do not, blah, 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 roll number, high, low, this, that. Well, we've got the summer sword. We don't need to worry about rolling, so we're just going to click on that. Now, we've also progressed through a section without combat, so we can heal ourselves that 1 point of endurance point loss. You draw the sword just in time to save yourself. The deadly disc is sliced in 2 on the edge of your golden blade, and the semicircles of twisted steel scream past barely inches from your cheeks. You roll away from the wagon and sprint along a narrow alleyway leading to a bank of dense trees. As you enter the trees, you hear the shouts of the bandits close behind. If you wish to press on towards the south, turn to 123. If you want to change direction and head west, turn to 169. Alrighty, so it looks like it's all gone to plot, or not plot. It's all gone to bad plot. So we're separated from our group. 2 of the 10 are dead. The other 8, you're not sure where they are. Trying to figure out what they would do, how we would meet up with them, and where to go from there. So they do know we're heading south. You can change direction to head west. Not quite sure what we do from here. I'm going to roll the dice and pick it randomly. Let's say odds is south. Oh, and the dice flew over. Nope. And odds it is. So we are going to head south. Onward and upward, you claw your way through the wooded hillside. Your throat is dry and your heart is pounding as though it is about to burst. But you dare not slacken your pace, for hours pass before you feel certain that you have outrun the enemy. It is nearly dusk when you chance upon a narrow, steep-sided valley. carved from the hillside to afford access to a mine tunnel. For hundreds of years, the ore of the Marken Range has been the blessing and the bane of many who have ventured here to seek their fortune. Men have found wealth beyond their wildest dreams, but also men have perished without trace in its labyrinth of cold, dark tunnels. You examine the mine entrance. You know that if you can find a major passage, you could trace your way to Ruinon itself. At the entrance, you find a discarded wooden crate containing 6 torches and a tinderbox. The mines are dark, and you will need to use at least 1 torch to light your way. You can take as many additional torches as you wish, but remember each one counts as a backpack item. So be sure to make the appropriate changes to your action chart. Okay, enter the mines by turning to 3:15. And it says it's got a little hit now. It runs a little bit of like a little eraser here with Project Aeon, as you can note there. Unless you already possess an alternate means of relighting the torch later, e.g. another a tinderbox or a cult fire sphere, which we have, record this tinderbox on your action chart as a backpack item. It is not necessary to record the 1 lit torch on your action chart. Well, that's what I kind of thought with the torch as well. I mean, we do have the fire sphere that we got in Cult in book 3. Maybe recording the tinderbox might not be a bad thing. We probably find more torches along the way somewhere. So I'm going to write down tinderbox. We do have the fire sphere, but let's just take the tinderbox just in case. Enter the mines by turning to 3:15. At the sound, turn the page. In the flickering light of your torch, you can see that the tunnel is supported by a crisscross of props and beams. The rock is damp, and a narrow rivulet of ore-stained water runs along the tunnel floor. You soon reach a junction where the tunnel heads off to the left and right. If you possess the Kai discipline of tracking, which unfortunately we do not, turn to 48. If you wish to go left, 269. If you wish to go right, 145. Okay, so what do you think, peeps? Are we going left or are we going right? And while we're having a quick think of that, I'm trying to find out what is wrong with this camera, if I can. Yep, it sees it there, but it just does not want to work. No, I'm checking different resolutions, and it just does not want to play nicely. Okay, maybe the camera itself, for whatever reason, has stopped working, and I need to go and rob a bank to pay for a new camera in these modern COVID times. Alrighty, so are we going left or are we going right? Eric says right. Sounds good. Let's do it. Okay. The tunnel descends for miles into solid rock. You are occasionally startled by unexpected swarms of glowing mine flies or fluttering bats swooping out of the darkness, attracted by your body heat. There's a bat. You eventually reach a chamber where a small wooden hut has been built against the wall. You are now desperately tired and in need of sleep. If you wish to rest in the hut, 322. If you wish to press on regardless of fatigue. A rested Kai Lord is a good Kai Lord. I'm pretty sure that we should have a snooze. Let's rest in the hut. Extinguishing your torch, you curl up on the floor and quickly fall into a deep sleep. Many hours pass before you awake, totally refreshed by your rest. Restore 2 endurance points. Relighting your torch, you can now see that the hut is full of mining tools. Picks, shovels, and wheelbarrows are stacked upright along the far wall. If you wish to take either a pick or a shovel, do so and mark it on your action chart as a backpack item. Due to the size of these tools, they each take up the same amount of space as 2 normal backpack items. Okay, so we have a full backpack at the moment. We've got 2 meals, 2 healing potions, a potion that aids us in combat, a tinderbox, and a rope that takes up two item spaces. So there's not really any room for a pick or a shovel. Now, we are progressing through a mine, so maybe a pick or a shovel would be useful, but at this stage, I don't know. So is anyone thinking that we should change up any of our stuff? I mean, to ditch a couple of meals in favor of a pick or a shovel might work. Ditching the healing potions or the combat boosting potion might not be the best idea. Ditching the rope, we could free up 2 spaces because these pick and shovels take up 2 spaces, but you never know when you'll need a rope. So what do you think, people? Are we going to ditch any? We're going to ditch both meals for a pick or a shovel, or are we going to ditch a rope? The rope for a pick or a shovel, or are we going to ditch both meals and the rope for a pick and a shovel? Not sure at this stage. What do you think? We are in a mine, so not totally without merit taking a pick or a shovel. I'm tempted to maybe ditch both meals, because on the upside, if we don't have a meal and we lose endurance points because we haven't eaten, we can kind of heal that with a healing potion, or we can heal it with what's Ian got here? Flint and tinder, ditch, eat a meal, take a pick. Sure. Ian's got a good point. Yeah, that's right. He's just corrected himself with saying pick, so that's right. Okay. Note up about that webcam talking. Sorry. Alrighty. So Ian says, ditch the tinderbox, eat a meal, and take a pick. We do have the fire sphere, and that will light torches as well. That's a very good point. Alrighty, so let's ditch. Excuse me. Ditch a meal. Excuse me. We can ditch both meals. Ditch the tinderbox, and we've got a pick. Minus pick. Okay, so we've eaten a meal, we've ditched the tinderbox, we have got a pick, and now we need to figure out whether we're going west or south in the tunnels here. South seems to be working for us so far. What do you think, west or south? Okay, this has been a slow section. I reckon we'll go south again. We keep going south. You soon arrive at a collapsed section of tunnel. A wide rift has appeared in the floor, and a makeshift bridge has been thrown across it. In spite of many gaping holes in the bridge floor, you make your way safely to the other side. You are hungry and must now eat a meal or lose 3 endurance points. If you possess the Kaya discipline of hunting, you are unable to use it within the Makan mines to hunt food. Can we be a bit sneaky and say, well, we just ate a meal in the last section, or should we stick to the book and eat the meal that we've got, our last meal that we've got in the bag? It is a bit sneaky to say, well, we ditched a meal. We could say that we ate it. That's it's a little bit of a bend of the rules, but we're having a bit of fun with this. So Maybe we'll stick properly with the rules. We'll cross off this meal here. We'll say we left it behind for whoever to find, and it's too far away and been too far. So we'll cross off the last meal we've got there, and let's continue. Eric says rules as written, and Ian says sneaky yes, but I'll be good and I'll go rules as written. So let's turn to 309. You follow the tunnel for 3 hours before arriving at a great hall where several tunnels, all at different depths, meet up. A series of wide stone ramps connect each tunnel to those immediately above and below. 4 levels below you, teams of men are pushing wagon loads of ore. Others, dressed in red armor, stand guard over the wagon pushers and urge them with whips and curses. The tunnel in which you now stand is on the highest level. You realize that the only way you can proceed is by descending the ramp to a tunnel on a lower level. To your dismay, you notice that each of the ramps is guarded by armed men. Inching forward, you peer over the edge of the ramp. 2 guards are sitting near the tunnel entrance below. They are laughing and giggling and pointing at an empty wine flagon that lies at their feet. After watching them for several minutes, you decide they are probably too drunk to notice you. You decide to make a dash for the tunnel. Pick a number on the random number. If you have the Kai discipline of camouflage, add 4 to the number you picked. We don't have camouflage, and this is why camouflage will aid you, to obscure you a little bit. So we're looking at a random number roll of the dice. Let's bring up the dice box. So we've rolled 7. So 0 to 7 is 138. Ooh, will that mean that Jason Chew's got here? Just walk back up and eat the meal you which left nicely on the floor. Yeah, I know we could do that, but we're being good. You are halfway down the ramp when a guard turns to face you. He blinks and rubs his bloodshot eyes in disbelief. You seize your advantage and sprint at the man, hoping to reach him before he fully comes to his senses. Just as he begins to shout, you strike, sending him tumbling over the edge of the ramp. The other guard draws his sword and staggers to his feet. He is obviously very drunk and is maddened by your attack. He springs towards you like a rabid dog. Drunken guard, 1/3. Okay, so this is our first round of combat. Combat skill is 13, endurance is 29. So for combat, we will go to table of contents. We will go down to the combat results table. Now, the combat ratio is what we work out by taking his combat skill of 13 away from our combat skill of 29 and becomes 16. So we go to the second page, 11 or greater, and then along the left-hand side is a random number. So what we do is we roll the dice, and this is sort of akin to rolling your dice when you're having a fight in a normal tabletop game. So we'll roll the dice. The dice is 9. So we look down here where it says 9, and we look at the right-hand column where it's 11 or greater. Our combat skill is 16. Where 9 and that meet up, it says K and 0. 0 means we take no damage, and the K means that we strike a blow to the guy in such a manner that it kills him outright. So the drunken guard we've killed outright. Now I feel kind of bad because I'm sure he was. I'm sure this is not a slavery mine. I'm sure the miners here are criminals. But we, unfortunately, he was going to fight us, and we need to keep pressing through. If you win the combat, 152. So we did. A quick search of the body reveals the following items: sword, 6 gold crowns, enough food for 2 meals, and a brass key. Okay, so we're not going to loot his body. I'm not going to take the gold. I'm not going to take the sword. Sword we don't need. But we will take a meal. So we'll take 1 meal. And we might take the brass key. Says the mark on the action chart, but what's the brass key? I'm assuming the brass key is a special item because it doesn't say a backpack item, and a brass key would be too small for just a single backpack item. So I'm going to put brass key as special item. Brass key. As you turn to enter the tunnel, a guard appears on the ramp below. He sees you and sounds the alarm by blowing on a war horn strung around his neck. You do not stay to witness the response to his alarm signal. With its sound, excuse me. With its sound ringing in your ears, you escape into the tunnel at a run. Sorry, just getting a bit of water there because reading is taking the wind out of me. Yes, Eric says keys are normally special items. That is correct. Okay, the hoarse cries of the guard echo along the tunnel. You soon reach a section where repairs are in progress. A prop in the center of the passage supports a cracked roof beam. If you could just knock away the prop, it might cause the roof to fall in, which would seal off the passage behind you. You can now hear the running footsteps of more than one guard approaching. If you wish to knock away the roof prop, turn to 173. If you decide to ignore the prop and press on along the tunnel. Oh, okay. Do we waste the time to try and bring the roof down so we can escape, or should we just keep legging it? What do you think, people? Are we going to leg it, or are we going to smash away at this roof prop? I'll give you a couple of ticks to see what you think. Okay, so Jason thinks it might kill you as well to bring down the roof prop. Eric says smash it. They probably know the mines better. Okay, so we'll give a crack at giving this prop a knock away. Okay. The wooden pillar is stout and firm. It will take a heavy blow to dislodge it. If you possess the summer sword, if you don't, okay, let's go to the summer sword. Okay. With one slice of your golden sword, the timber splinters in two. A shudder runs through the ground, and with one mighty roar, a deluge of earth and stone completely fills the tunnel. Clouds of dust engulf you, and the force of the blast throws you to the floor. All the torches are extinguished. You lose one endurance point. So we'll take that off, 31. Staggering to your feet, you hurry along the dust-choked tunnel to where the wall torches are still burning. 335. The tunnel soon emerges into a large chamber divided by a deep mine shaft. A dark-skinned warrior in tatty leather armor stands guard at the entrance of the wooden bridge spanning the shaft. He is whittling a block of wood and grumbling to himself about how unfair it is that he is given the most boring duties. On the far side of the chamber, a tunnel disappears into the west wall. You know that if you are to reach the tunnel, you must get past the guard and cross the bridge. Not that he's heard the noise of the roof caving in. Okay, if you possess the Kai discipline of camouflage, 35. If you have the Kai discipline of, we don't have camouflage. If you have the Kai discipline of mind over matter, which we do have. If you have neither, okay, we've got mind over matter. So let's, now that's a non-combat section, so we can heal ourselves the 1 point back to 32. So I reckon we use mind over matter. You concentrate your powers and direct them at an outcrop of loose shale overhanging the shaft on the opposite side of the chamber. In seconds, there is a crack of slate and stone as part of the outcrop crumbles away and falls into the gaping mine shaft. The guard is startled by the sudden noise and leaves his post to investigate. Without a moment's hesitation, you dash across the now empty bridge and disappear into the tunnel beyond. Less than 50 yards along the tunnel wall, you notice a lever. Your Kai instincts make you naturally suspicious of this unusual feature. You scour the floor looking for evidence of a trap. You find nothing, but a glance of the roof reveals the underside of a wide portcullis hidden between two beams. You pull the lever and the portcullis falls, sealing off the tunnel behind you. To make sure you will not be followed, you smash the lever with a wedge of stone before continuing along the tunnel. It's very assumptuous, of us that we're progressing in the right direction. Too bad if we've got to come back this way. Turn to 185. You are hungry and must now eat a meal. You can't use it in here. Good thing we picked up that meal from the dude that we killed. Sorry, buddy. Your lunch is ours. Oh, sorry guys, just had to sneeze in. I wasn't going to leave the camera on for the mic on for that. A line of empty ore wagons lie parked along a stretch of track that disappears into the west wall of this gallery. Above the arched tunnel, a flight of wooden stairs leads to a smaller passage lit by a sputtering torch. You stay hidden in the shadows watching the galley for half an hour before you are satisfied that it is safe to enter. If you have the Kai discipline of tracking, no, we don't. Maybe that would have been a better one than Mind Blast. Oh well. If you wish to follow the wagon track into the west tunnel, if you wish to climb the stairs to the balcony, explore the passage. Well, the wagon track to the west seems interesting because you would eventually hope that the wagon track would come out on the side of a mountain or into a valley or somewhere so we can get back above ground. Stairs to the balcony, explore the passage. That might not be a bad idea either. Not sure what could be up there, but happy to see what people think. We might just roll a dice and sort of see where it takes us. So let's see. West. So we'll say west is odd. Odd it is. West we go. Go west. 55. As you make your way along the torchlit tunnel, you pass several ore wagons bearing the same design branded upon their wooden sides. A cross moline above the initials OV. You recognize the seal of Oren Vanelund, the Baron of Ruanon, and it confirms to the fact you are heading in the right direction. Yes! Suddenly, the sound of approaching footsteps began to echo along the tunnel ahead. They become louder, accompanied now by shouting and the crack of a whip. If you wish to dive into one of the empty ore wagons, turn to 161. If you wish to hide in the shadows of the rough tunnel wall, 286. Alrighty, so ore wagon or tunnel wall. Are we going to hide in the shadows? We don't have camouflage because it may ask us for camouflage. Hiding in an ore wagon as well, just thinking about it, we may need camouflage for that. But did it say anything about any? Was it empty or did it had stuff in it? Several ore wagons. Okay, it doesn't say whether it was empty or full. Oh, well, in the thing here, it says empty ore wagon, Heath. If you had read it like you did 3 seconds ago, you'd see that it was of course, it's an empty ore wagon. Let's jump into the empty ore wagon because I feel silly now. Let's jump into an empty ore wagon. Raising the hood of your kai cloak, you crouch in the bottom of an empty ore wagon and wait with bated breath. Through a gap in the wood, you can see a haggard procession of men shuffling towards you, an escort of bandit warriors. Okay, so they were bandits. So we killed the guard who was a bandit. All right, that makes me feel a bit better. I was hoping it wasn't actually like a Summerland guard or something. An escort of bandit warriors pushes them forward, beating any who falter or slip out of line. So whatever's happened to the cavalry we were looking for, maybe it's gone further than that. Maybe some of these mines that belong to the king have been taken over by bandits as well. And especially if they've met us with 200 horseback warriors. So this has got a little crazier than what the king suspects. You feel a sudden jolt as your wagon is pushed along the tunnel and glance up to see a sweat-streaked face peering down at you. "Run left when I say go," whispers the face, which then disappears over the edge of the wagon. As the wagon emerges from the tunnel, sunlight suddenly floods over you. Through the crack, you can now see your destination. The wagons are being shunted onto a timber gantry where the track ends some 50 feet above a huge mound of ore. Your observations are cut short by a hissed command, "Go!" If you wish to leap from the wagon and run to your left, if you wish to jump from the wagon and run to the right, if you decide to ignore the command and stay where you are. Well, it's not giving us 6 cents whether this guy's on the up and up or not, but he hasn't ratted us out straight away and he hasn't attacked us straight away. So I'm starting to think that maybe this guy believes that we're a good guy and that we're ultimately going to help. So run left is what he said. So I'm kind of inclined to believe this guy when he says about running left. So I reckon we'll give him benefit of the doubt. Let's run left. Leap from the wagon and run to the left. And you die. No, just kidding. You leap over the side of the wagon and sprint towards a line of densely packed trees less than 20 yards from the track. Luck is with you, for the bandit guards fail to notice your daring escape, and the wagons continue on their way towards the gantry. Pausing just long enough to catch your breath, you give silent thanks to the stranger who helped you before pressing onwards through the trees. Oh. I hope he escapes. The trees are alive with bandit patrols, but your quick wits and kai skills prevent you from being seen by them. Eventually, you reach the edge of the copse. You find yourself staring across an expanse of open plain towards Ruanon. The sight that lies before you is very disquieting. Much of the mining town has been burnt to the ground. The blackened ruins of what were once shops, cottages, and taverns are little more than smouldering mounds of charcoal. You are beginning to fear the worst, that Ruanon has been totally destroyed, when a gentle breeze clears the haze of wood smoke hanging like a grey curtain over the ruins. Inside the perimeter of ruined buildings, a barricade has been thrown up around a tower of stone. Above the tower, a tattered flag still flies, bringing renewed hope. It is the sun flag of Summerland, edged with a band of white braid, the cavalry standard of the King's Guard Regiment. And there it is there. The sudden crack of a twig makes you freeze. You glance behind to see 3 bandits creeping through the trees towards you. The wide steel tips of their spears glint. They seem to have been coated with a clear, sticky fluid. If you possess the Kai discipline of hunting, or if you have ever visited Gorn Cove, turn to 45. If you wish to fight the bandits, turn to 133. If you wish to evade them, you must run across open plain towards Ruanan, 800 yards away. Now, we have hunting, and we have visited Gorn Cove. So there's got to be some significance there about this clear, sticky fluid. You recognize Nardern sap dripping from their spears. It is a deadly poison. You dare not risk engaging in combat with these bandits, for the merest graze from one of their tainted weapons could be fatal. Leaping to your feet, you race away from the trees and towards Ruanan. Good call there, because I remember in was it book 2, Fire on the Water, someone tried to poison us with Nardern sap, and we had to use a healing potion, and a lucky roll to be able to survive. So yeah, let's not risk three bandits with 3 spears, coated with poison. Is probably no bueno. 307. From all along the forest edge, groups of bandits emerge from the trees, whipped and scolded by their bullying sergeants for allowing you to escape. This spurs you to quicken your pace, and you cover the first 100 yards with ease. Then arrows begin to fall around you. You duck and weave, making yourself a difficult target for the archers, and gradually the falling shafts dwindle in number. You smile at their futile attempts to stop you, but your confidence is soon shaken by a pack of snarling warhounds breaking out of the woods to your right. They are off the leash and hungry for blood. Yeah, this is not good. You are less than 500 yards from Ruanan, but the warhounds are closing in. If you wish to quicken your pace and try to outrun them, 225. If you wish to stop and fight them, 36. Now, when they say pack, we're not sure how many in a pack. That's the key. Is it pack 6? Is it pack 60? Is it pack 600? What do you think, people? Are we gonna try and keep running and outdistance the warhounds, or are we gonna turn and fight them? We've been going pretty good for battles so far. We want to make sure that we don't push our luck. We don't want to push our luck with having anyone catch up with us, but at the same time, we don't exactly want them grabbing you by the back of the leg and bringing you down. And you want to kind of fight them on your own terms. You want to turn and have a shot at them, but you want to make sure that you're not, they're not going to get the first bite into your leg and bring you down permanently. So Jason says fight. I reckon we go fight. I reckon that's Eric says you can't outrun them, fight. That's a good point too. Warhounds are pretty fast. That's why they're warhounds. Alrighty, let's have a chop at them. Stop and fight. The warhounds lope towards you at an unnerving speed. You can see their great red-lipped jaws clearly and hear the clacking of their fangs. You fight to control your breathing, to concentrate all your warrior skills, for you must dispatch the warhounds quickly and with precision if you are to avoid being torn to pieces. 2 dogs, faster than their brothers, break free of the pack and close upon you. They leap simultaneously, their slavering jaws spread wide for attack. You dive forward and roll, striking at their bellies from beneath as they pass above. Both howl with rage and pain and tumble lifeless to the ground. You are back on your feet as the next warhound attacks. That is pretty good. So that's not bad. We've dwindled their numbers. So let's see, warhound combat 17, endurance 25. And it's got a proviso here: if you win this combat in 3 rounds or less. I'm guessing that's the time it takes for the other dogs to catch up. So combat skill of 17, ours is 29, so we've got a ratio of 12. So if we go into here, go into the combat results table, scroll down to the second page, 11 or greater, and we will bring up our dice tray. Get our trusty dice for a random number, drop it in there, and it is 4. So they lose 12, we lose 2. So they go from that dog, warhound goes from 25 to 13, and we lose 2 points to come down to 30. Pick up the dice and roll again. 0. Now, 0 in this instance is not 0. 0 is 10, which basically means we don't lose any and we insta-kill them. That's what that K is in the bottom right-hand corner there, because the 0 matches up with that, and we in the ratio combat of 11 or greater, because our ratio is 12. So we have beaten that Warhound, and we did it in less than 3 rounds. So we can go to 155. Beyond the approaching Warhound pack, you can see that a dozen bandit archers are closing in. If you were to survive the rending jaws of the Warhounds, the archers would be sure to pick you off with ease. Without wasting a second, you turn towards Ruanon and run as fast as your legs will carry you. Oh, so that's good. 225. You try to ignore your aching legs and fear that knots your stomach by forcing your concentration on the sun flag, a fluttering symbol of hope in the distance. Your face is streaked with sweat and your lungs feel as though they will burst, but you dare not slacken your pace. The thought of Warhound fangs closing and tugging on your skin is all you need to drive you forward. At 400 yards, you can see that the barricade and the watchtower are inhabited, but at this distance, the faces you can see are only a line of small pink dots on the walls. At 300 yards, you run into some gruesome remains where the corpses of bandits lie twisted on the ground, most killed by arrows. Many have lain in the open for weeks. A flock of startled carrion crows rise shrieking from their feast as you race through the bodies. You turn away in disgust. Suddenly, a new sound drifts across the plain, the sound of cheering. The beleaguered defenders have spotted you and recognize your green Kai cloak. 200 yards to go. You have just passed the ruins of a burnt-out cottage when you feel an agonizing pain tear through your left thigh. An arrow has pierced your leg and you pitch forward into the mud and ash. Crouched in the ruined cottage, a bandit sniper raises his bow and takes careful aim at your head. Alrighty, random number table time. So let's go to the dice. Let's hope that this isn't going to be bad for us. Roll the dice, in we go. 0. If you turn to 0, I think I know what is going to happen given what's here. The twang of the sniper's bow and the hiss of the arrow are the last sounds that you hear in this world. The shaft punctures your skull and you die instantly. Your life and your mission end here. Nuts. Alrighty, so we'll mark down that that's one death that we've had. Yeah, I'm a bit bummed about that. I was hoping to get through this without dying. Now, like a good game book, when you're playing, you just go back to the last passage and let's pick again. I'm not going to make us start the book again. If I was playing this by myself, I might, but I think, oops, says Jason. Yeah, very, very much so. Oops. Well, it's bound to happen in game books. So let's try that again. At 2. So turn to page 20. An arrow hisses overhead and a scream of agony fills the air. The bow slips from the archer's fingers as he sinks to his knees. The arrow lodged deep in his startled eyes. The clack of fangs and the soft, swift pad of stealthy feet tell you that the Warhounds are closing in. You look up to see a man running towards you from the barricade. He has a shield in one hand and a longbow in the other. It is Guard Captain Duval. He reaches you breathlessly from his run and draws an arrow from his quiver. Duval aims and fires, drawing another arrow from his quiver as soon as the first is loosed. The warhounds tumble and crash to the ground around you, felled by Duval's deadly shafts. 8 lie dead before his quiver is empty. And there he is there. The captain grabs you by the arm and, swinging you over his shoulder in one swift motion, carries you back towards the barricade. Others run forward to help you, but the bandit archers are now in range and your men are forced back by a hail of arrows. The red shafts of the enemy whistle past on all sides. You reach the barricade, a wagon is pulled aside, and you are carried in through the gap. Captain Duval is close to exhaustion. He staggers, and his men rush to catch him before he drops to the ground. 341 now. Yeah, that was close. A circle of unshaven faces are staring down at you. A soldier cradles your leg as another snaps the shaft buried deeply in your thigh. Before you can even cry out in pain, he has drawn the arrow from your leg with one swift tug. "You are very lucky, Kai Lord," he says, as he bandages a handful of lamb-spoor to your aching limb. "The wound is clean, and the bleeding is but slight. You lose 4 endurance points," so we'll just mark that. We're down to 26. "But the soldier's quick thinking and skill has saved your leg from infection. With great care, the soldiers carry both you and Captain Duval into the stone watchtower." "I was hoping the king would send a large search party," says Captain Duval wryly, now that you have fully recovered from having fully recovered from his exhaustion. "I was beginning to tire of this town." You rise from your straw bed and offer your thanks to the captain. His brave and timely action saved you from certain death. "'Tis nothing to compare with you, Lone Wolf. Your bravery is legend. Your presence here is worth 100 men." He asks you about your mission, and you recount the events that have led you to this meeting: the ride south, the loss of your company, your passage to the Macan mines, and the bandits. "Yes, the bandits, Baraka's men," retorts Duval, his gruff voice conveying his contempt for them and their leader. "It seems we have suffered at his hand. It seems we have both suffered at his hand. A month ago, he and his Vasagonian renegades ambushed my troop on the Ruanon Pike. We were sorely outnumbered, and the fight was indeed bitter. But we broke free from them and escaped here to Ruanon. We have been beleaguered ever since and praying for help to arrive. We have enough weapons to resist them, but we have barely enough food and water to survive." You ask what has become of the people of Ruanon. "Most are now slaves. Baraka has taken the mines and he uses the Ruanese as forced labor. Other than yourself, only one man has escaped from the mines and survived the warhounds and bandit snipers. That man is Baron Oren Vaneland. Come, I shall take you to him." Duval leads you to the topmost chamber of the watchtower and pushes open an iron-shod door. The sight that greets you fills your heart with sorrow and pity. Oren Vaneland is the 15th Baron of Ruanon, a noble warrior of royal lineage and 5th in succession to the throne of Summerland. This once proud and chivalrous warlord now lies upon the cold stone floor of the chamber, red-eyed and whimpering like a frightened dog. "He has lost everything," says Duval quietly. Okay, sorry, it wasn't quietly. "Baraka has destroyed his castle, his land, his town, and his family. His sons are dead, and his only daughter has been taken captive by Baraka himself. I fear the ordeal has turned his mind." So there's Vaneland's castle in ruins, and it looks like a couple of his men have been executed there. Not good. The pathetic man raises his tear-stained face and with feeble mind mutters a curious rhyme over and over. "When a royal maiden on the altar dies, the dead of the market court shall rise." If you possess a scroll, turn to 279. If you do not possess a scroll, turn to 57. We do have the scroll. This is the prophecy scroll that we got from the strange disappearing old man in the hermit's hut. So that's Let's turn to 279. As you unfold the scroll and begin to read its ominous contents, the Baron struggles to his feet. Word for word, he echoes the prophetic verse. When the full moon shines over the temple deep, a sacrifice will stir from sleep the legions of a long-forgotten lord. When a fair royal maid on the altar dies, the dead of the Macan gorge shall rise to claim their long-awaited reward. You must save her, Lone Wolf. You must prevent the sacrifice. The Baron's voice is choked with emotion. Save who? Who must he save? Questions Captain Duval as he tries to calm the distressed Baron. My daughter, Madeline. Baraka has found the dagger of Vashna. He plans to sacrifice my daughter upon the altar of Marken to release the undead of Marken Gorge. The Baron explains that during the age of the Black Moon, King Alna of Summerland killed the mightiest of all the Dark Lords, Vashna, with the Summer Sword, the Sword of the Sun. His body and the bodies of all of his soldiers were hurled into the bottomless abyss of Marken Gorge. He plans to lead the dead to victory, first to conquer Summerland, then all of the last lands, he says in despair. You stare at the Baron in stunned silence. If Baraka completes the sacrifice, all is lost. What mortal army can stand against the legion of the dead? Captain Duval ushers you from the chamber and closes the door. I'd feared he was insane, but your scroll confirms my worst nightmare. He speaks the truth. As the dreadful significance of the verse begins to sink in, your thoughts are broken by the shrill blast of a war horn. Captain Duval strides over to an arrow slit and peers out across the plain. As he turns to speak, you notice his face is ashen grey. The bandits! They're launching an attack! If you possess Captain Duval's sword, turn to 327. If you don't, okay, well, we do, so let's turn to that. Excuse me. Okay. You draw the sword and offer it to the captain. A look of surprise and delight crosses his face as he examines the blade. I never expected to see my trusty steel again. It is a good omen for the battle ahead. Thanking you, the captain sheaths his sword in its scabbard that until now has hung empty from his belt. Remember to raise his weapon, so we'll cross that off. That feels good to be able to return it to him too. 289. Now, I think I've forgotten to a couple of these. Forgotten to use the healing. A couple of these non-combat passages. We've at least been through 6, so let's heal ourselves back up to 32. Go to 289. We're just into our second hour now, so it's starting to get we're starting to get somewhere. Okay. You follow Captain Duval as he hurries down the broad watchtower steps and out to the barricade. A rolling sound like distant thunder fills the air. Cavalry are pouring onto the plain from all sides, grouping up in battalions in preparation for the advance. Excuse me. Columns of foot soldiers in bright scarlet armor march through their ranks, herding a frightened wall of people before them. They're Ruinese, cries Duval, his hand shielding the light from his eyes. That cur Baraka, he's using them as a shield. All around you, the captain's men have drawn their bowstrings, awaiting the signal to fire, but it is an order he dare not give. Suddenly, a hidden catapult hurls a massive black rock through the air straight towards the barricade. You stare in horror as it bursts into flame and disintegrates, showering a rain of blazing oil on everyone beneath. The soldiers cannot evade the deluge, and many are badly burnt before the flames are smothered. A battle cry resounds from the enemy ranks, the signal to attack. The Ruinese are pushed aside and trampled by the onrush of Scarlet Warriors who now race towards the barricade. So there's this fire rock type, incendiary device there exploding above, and you see one of the Ruinese been sort of knocked down and not having a lot of fun. You see flames in the background. The blazing oil has scattered Duval's men, and the barricade is poorly defended. You hear Duval shout your name. His cloak and tunic are ablaze, and he is screaming for your help. If you've reached the Kai rank of Warman, if you wish to help the captain... Okay, so we've reached that rank, so we'll click on that. You must rally the defenders or all is lost. You order 2 soldiers to help the captain and leap onto the overturned wagon in order to see clearly the enemy advance. They have already reached the ruined perimeter of Ruanon and are now creeping forward under cover of the broken cottage walls. You shout orders to Duval's men to defend the barricade, but the enemy are less than 100 yards from the wall. You are afraid it might be too late to repel their attack. The Vasconian bandits break cover and charge, and you give the order to fire. A cloud of arrows sweep down upon the armor-clad men, the hardened tip penetrating their scarlet plate. The first wave of assailants tumbles and falls. The second wave falters. Another volley forces them back, and they retreat to the ruins to reorganize themselves. Here and there, groups of bandit warriors have survived the hail of death and reached the barricade. Most are slain as they try to enter, but a small and determined section of their boldest fighters have broken through close to where you stand. Suddenly, a thick-bodied warrior with oily black hair tied in a knot at the back of his scarred head leaps onto the wagon and attacks you. So we're about to have at it with a Vasconian warrior. Alrighty, so we can evade combat by leaping from the wagon at any time. When we evade combat, we take damage, they don't. So that's sort of effectively like in D&D with an attack of opportunity. So they have combat skill 18 and endurance of 25. Our combat skill is 19, so our ratio is 11. So we're not doing too badly in that respect. Combat results table. And we go to the second table for that 11 or greater section. I will go to our trusty dice over here and we'll get ready to roll. Alrighty. 6 is our first result. So 6 means we lose 1 endurance point and he loses 16. So he's down to 9 straight away. That's must have got him a good shot with the summer sword. So we go to another dice roll. Don't knock the camera, Heath. Okay, here we go. Oh, 0. Now, if you remember from a battle a moment ago, 0 means we insta-kill. Must have got him a good shot and finished him off. So, well done us. If you win the fight, turn to 243. Duval runs past the wagon, leading a dozen of his best swordsmen in a counter-charge and driving the enemy all the way back to the barricade. None escape alive. Those who survive Duval's swordsmen are cut down on the plain by his archers as they run towards the ruins. The shout of victory has barely died away before you are faced by a new threat. Turn to 124. A mantlet, a large shield on wheels is being pushed slowly across the body-strewn battleground towards the barricade. Arrow shafts soon bristle from its thick wooden planks as Duval's men fire their bows time and time again in an attempt to hit the shielded foe. Suddenly, a robed figure darts from behind the mantlet and levels a black staff at the barricade. He is cut down by an arrow, but not before he has let loose from his staff a guttering ball of flame. It cartwheels across the plain and explodes with a tremendous roar, hurtling the bodies of defenders and shattering the shattered barricade high into the air. Through a cloud of dust and debris, you can see a line of enemy cavalry charging across the plain. They wear tall, plumed helmets of polished steel and breastplates of the deepest crimson. In the wake of the fireball, they pour through the remains of the barricade and attack. They give no quarter. A horseman spurs his horse towards you, his lance leveled at your chest. If you wish to stand and fight the horseman, if you wish to run back to the watchtower. Okay, so it's just gone sideways. We've lost part of the barricade, and this cavalry have charged in. This guy wants to have at us with his lance. We can either have a shot at, attacking him, or counter-attacking him, or we can run back to the watchtower. So Jason says, "Mark this dice as loaded for combat." Yeah, I think we've just had a couple of good rolls. I've played with this dice before, and I think we've just had a couple of very good rolls with that. Alrighty, so let's. I reckon we'll have at this guy. We'll have a fight. Okay, 1 round of combat as he passes by. Combat skill 20, endurance 28. So we're combat skill 29. So our combat ratio is 9. So let's go to the combat results table and down here too. So with this second from the right column, 9, 10. There is still a chance of instant kill, even in this 1 round of combat. So let's roll our dice. And a 3. See, Jason, it's not loaded. So he loses 10, and we lose 2 points of endurance. So 29. And, that's right, we can only do 1 round of combat. So let's go back here. If you lose more endurance points than your enemy in this 1 round, turn to 209. If your enemy loses more endurance points than you in this round, turn to, and if you lose exactly the same. Okay, so we'll go to 220 because he lost more than we did. Excuse me. I've got to learn to mute the microphone when I do that. And I've got to learn to unmute the microphone after I cough. Your blow has unhorsed the bandit. He falls to the ground heavily, shattering his lance beneath him. He staggers to his feet, and raising the hinged eye shield of his helm, he stares at you and smiles wickedly, exposing a jagged line of blackened teeth. He spits a battle cry and runs towards you, unsheathing a broadsword as he closes in. If you wish to fight the warrior, 90. If you wish to evade combat, 163. Let's have at him. He can't be too bad off. You are in combat with a Vasconian horseman who is now on foot. You cannot evade him, and you must fight him to the death. Combat skill 17, endurance 24, which we actually knock him down to 18 before. But if we're doing by the book, we'll take it as 24. So let's go to the combat results table. 17 to our 29 is 12. So the fact he's off his horse means it's easier to fight him in battle. And let's roll our first 4. So we lose 2, he loses 12, so he's down to half hit points, or endurance points rather. We lose 2, so we're on 27. He's on 12. Let's roll another dice. And that's 6. 6, we lose 1, he loses 16, which means he is dead. He's on -4, and we lose 2, we're on 25. Glad he wasn't using poisoned weapons like those other bandits. So you win 249. Oh, excuse me. You run half crouched to the barricade and prize a bow from the hand of a dead soldier. You have spotted the leader of the bandit cavalry, a tall, dark-skinned warrior with a thin, chiseled nose, rallying his horsemen at the foot of the stone watchtower. You know you must kill him before he can regroup his troops, or Duval and his hard-pressed men will be ridden down and mercilessly slaughtered. So there's the commander of the other guys. Again, a bit of classic Gary Chalk artwork. You notch an arrow and draw back the bowstring. The straining cord bites into your fingers as you take aim. Pick a number. If you've got weapon skill, doesn't matter which weapon, add 2 to it. So we need to roll a random number and add 2 to it. 8 plus 2, so we're in that 8 to 11. So we select that. The arrow arcs through the smoke-blackened sky and pierces the officer's shining breastplate. You hear his scream of pain ring out above the din of battle, and watch as his cruel eyes flicker and close. He swoons and slips from his saddle, your arrow lodged deep in his heart. Oh, look at that, cool. And that is a non-combat section. I keep forgetting to do this. Let's heal ourselves up. So how many did we have before? Oh, well, we count that last one with the arrow as battle. So we don't do that. So we bring that up to 26. Turn to 148. To me, Captain Doe. To me, Captain Duval's voice booms out above the battle noise. Rally to me, some lending. The brave captain draws about him a shielded wedge of soldiers and charges into the flank of the horsemen. They reel and buckle as the shield wedge hews its way through their company. A Vasagonian herald, his crimson armor torn and his face smeared with blood, breaks free from the battle and sounds the retreat. You watch as surviving bandits spur their mounts to a gallop, desperate to escape through the ragged hole in the barricade. Gripped by panic and fatigue, they ride through their own foot soldiers who are advancing to support them. The infantry falter and collapse as the cavalry ride them down. So that's them there in disarray. The herald with his horn by the look of it. Captain Duval leads his men to the barricade and directs a lethal volley of arrows into the shattered infantry. It is the last straw. They throw down their weapons and flee from the clouds of arrows raining down on them from the smoke-filled sky. A battle cry, proud and strident, pursues them across the plain. For Summerland! For Summerland! And that's another section we can heal ourselves for a point. We're up to 27. Turn to 137. Eric says, don't jinx that die. Yeah, we rolled low a couple of spots then, didn't we? So, alrighty. All around the barricade, the enemy are retreating in disorder. Bandit war horns announce the withdrawal, exhorting their defeated warriors to flee the battlefield. A jubilant Captain Duval emerges from the war smoke, his eyes shining like jewels beneath the rim of his battered helmet. We have triumphed, Lone Wolf. We have vanquished the foe. Oh, we also need a drink of water because Captain Duval's voice is very That's better. All around you, the captain's men are rebuilding the barricade and tending to their wounded comrades. It sorrows you to see some lending dead, but you take heart at how few they are beside the enemy's losses. The captain the captain ushers you to the watchtower where your wounds are cleaned and dressed with lamb spur. The herbs restore 6 endurance points. That's cool. That brings us all the way up to our total of 32. Any extra, we're just lost. We have beaten this foe, but I fear that it is but a temporary reprieve, says the... Oh, hang on, I haven't done the voice. We have beaten this foe, but I fear that it is but a temporary reprieve, says the captain, his face now composed and somber. The sacrifice of Baron Vanelon's daughter must be stopped if we are to avoid catastrophe, for our strength will not avail us against a foe freshly risen from the grave. The words of the verse flood into your mind, and a chill runs down your spine as you realize what may lie ahead. In 3 days' time, when the moon is full, Baraka will sacrifice the Baron's daughter at the buried temple of Marken, a sacrifice that will unleash the dead of Marken Gorge, the Chasm of Doom. You know you must prevent the sacrifice. "50 miles south of Ruanon, The ruined city of Marken teeters on the brink of the Macken Gorge. A cold sweat breaks out upon your brow as you contemplate the difficulty of your mission, for you are separated from your goal by 50 miles of enemy-held territory. But there is still a flicker of hope. With the enemy in confusion and retreat, your chances of success will be far higher now than before battle. Before you set off on your perilous journey, Captain Duval offers you the choice of the following equipment and provisions. It says here, if you do not have a backpack, you may assume here that you are outfitted one. So somewhere previously, an option might have led to you lost a backpack. So there's enough food for 3 meals. There's rope, there's a potion of lamspur, there's a sword, and a spear. So when you're offered the choice of these, you can pretty much means take whatever you want. Since we've given his sword back, I reckon we re-equip with the sword. So we'll take that. We have 2 lamspur potions, healing potions already. The potion of Aletha, which is like a hit of guarana. You know, it gives you a bit of an oomph before battle. We've got a rope that carries 2 spots, and we've got that pick that we didn't end up needing in the mines. Almost tempted to say, let's get rid of the pick. Perhaps we can. So what have we got? 1, 2, 3. Rope makes up to 5. The pick makes up to 7. We could probably take some food and maybe that lamspur in place of the pick. What do you say, peeps? Are we going to ditch this pick? I reckon let's ditch the pick. Let's pick up another meal. So how many meals are there? 3 meals. I reckon we pick up 2 meals. And we take that lamspur just in case. So that's 3 healing potions. And that restores 4 endurance points. Okay, done. So picks out there. Let's get into it. Okay, turn to 140. Alrighty. So we are just about to embark into going to Marken. What I reckon we might do here is perhaps just call a quick break, a quick bio break. So anyone who wants to make a drink, quickly go to the toilet. We'll do that now, and we'll be back in 2 minutes. Alrighty, back soon. I'm back, and my camera's still not working. Oh well, I'm glad these microphone with the headphones were working. So if we've still got 7 watching, thank you very much. We are coming close to the end of it because I think we're about to find the bad guys and figure out what to do to stop them. So, alrighty. So let's have a look here. Dusk soon enshrouds the beleaguered outpost of Ruanon, and you use the cover of darkness to cross the body-strewn plain towards the south. An old highway trails off to Marken, but it is choked with Vasconian warriors. They stand about in sullen groups, tending their wounded and brooding on their defeat. However, even demoralized and dejected, they are still a deadly foe. It will be too dangerous to risk passing through their ranks, so you must use the forest to conceal your passage. If you wish to venture through the trees to the right of the highway, turn to 70. If you wish to pass through the trees to the left. It doesn't give us any choices. Not that we have camouflage. We don't have tracking, but it doesn't even give hunting a look in or even sixth sense. So basically it's a 50-50, go to the right or go to the left. Let's see, what do we think? We're going to the right or to the left? I might go to the dice we say evens is right. Odd. So we go to the left. The forest is patrolled by bandits, but they take little interest in their guard duties, and you find it easy to avoid them in the dark. Then by chance you come across a small log cabin hidden deep in the woods. A candle flickers at the window and the door is ajar. If you wish to enter the hut, 53. If you do not wish to enter the hut, continue mission by turning to 258. Oh, are we going to look in the hut or are we going to keep going? Again, it doesn't give us any sixth sense or anything like that. So maybe we'll have a quick nosy in the hut. We can take a moment's pause in there. The door slams shut and you spin around to see a bandit leaping at you from the from the shadows. His head is a mass of bloodied bandages, but he is armed and determined to fight. Wounded bandits. Okay, so we'll have at him. 13 and 16. So 16 is not a lot of endurance points. Let's go to table of contents. Let's go to combat results table. Now his is 13, ours is 29, so that's a ratio of 16. So we're in that far column. Let's bring up the dice again, and that is a 6. And 6 means we take 1 point of damage, 31, and he takes 16, of which that is his 16. So we kill him in one shot. Good job that he was wounded. Back out here, win the combat 109. You roll the dead bandit over with the toe of your boot and make a quick search of his body. You discover the following items: 3 gold crowns, a dagger, and a sword. Okay, let's take the crowns because, screw you, bandit. 39. You may take any of the above items. As you are leaving, you notice a trapdoor on the floor. Opening it, you see that it leads down to the cellar of the building. Okay, I don't think we should dally any longer in this building. I reckon we need to get back to the mission at hand. What do you think, people? Are we going to search the cellar or are we going to leave the hut and get going? Well, Marcus already said don't enter the hut. Oops, sorry, I missed that one earlier, Marcus. Leave the place now. We are not in a treasure hunt. That is very, very true. So I think we might do that. I think we might leave the hut. 258. You quickly leave the hut far behind and press on through the trees. By morning, you have reached the edge of the forest. Staring out across the fields of tall crops, you see a small village lying at the base of a shallow valley. The fields are only separated by narrow tracks, which are alive with flying insects hovering in swarms. You are walking along the track when you suddenly spot bandits ahead. They are wandering idly up the track towards you, their spears slung over their shoulders. If you possess an onyx medallion, turn to 305. If you have reached the Kai discipline of camouflage and if you have reached the rank of guardian, no, okay, we don't have any of those. Let's just dive into the tall crops and hide. You lie with your face pressed close to the crop roots, your breath held and your nerves stretched as taut as bowstrings, waiting for patrol to pass. Hundreds of minute creatures busily file up and down the yellow stalks. Your whole body begins to prickle as you imagine they are swarming up your legs, up your sleeves, and down your neck of your oh, no thanks, tunic. When a trickle of sweat runs down your cheek, you nearly cry out and reveal your hiding place. The bandits amble past barely inches from where you hide, totally oblivious to your presence. When you are sure that they are no longer on the track, you jump up and frantically scratch at your itching skin. To your horror, you discover that your legs are covered with crawling insects feasting on your blood. Ugh. Ripping your clothes off, you empty them from your boots and scrape them from your skin before hurrying off along the track. These blood-sucking insects have robbed you of 2 endurance points. Oh, yuck. Better that than the alternative, I guess. Alrighty, turn to 204. You bypass a village. With orange wood cabins and stone walls, and climb through the tall fields towards a wooded ridge. Beyond the ridge, you enter a thick forest and discover a bubbling fresh stream. You drink deeply and realize how hungry you are. You must eat a meal here or lose in 3 endurance points. Well, pretty glad I grabbed those meals. We'll cross one of them off. As night falls, you reach the city of Marken. The gaunt, weed-infested ruins of this shattered city are spread like a vast graveyard and bathed in the eerie light of a near full moon. A sound fills the air like the wailing of lost souls. It is the cry of Marken Gorge. It has been nearly 2 days since you last slept, and fatigue begins to overwhelm you. Drawing your Kai cloak about your shoulders, you settle down to sleep. You will need all your strength for the daunting task that lies ahead. And no combat, so we're going to heal ourselves for 1 point there, particularly because we ate. Jason was saying seller. No, I think we're past that point. Sorry, bud. Okay, 142. Dawn arrives, rain-swept and gloom-laden. A pall of drizzle hangs over the ghost city, and the gruesome discord of the wailing winds of Marken Gorge makes you feel uneasy. You watch and wait, and your Kai cloak drawn close about your shoulders to keep out the chill, damp air. It was here, during the age of the Black Moon, that King Ulnar of Summerlin killed the mightiest of the Dark Lords, Lord Vashna. In mortal combat upon the very brink of the abyss, the Dark Lord was slain by the Summer Sword. It is said that his death cry, when he fell, will echo through the gorge until the day he rises to wreak his vengeance on Summerland and the House of Ulnar. Your stomach contracts at the thought that this could be that very day. For 5 hours you observe and take in every detail of the ruined city. The first line of the strange verse keeps repeating itself in your mind. When the full moon shines over the temple deep. The temple must be underground, and there must be an entrance to it. But where? You study every crack in the broken ground and eliminate all but 2 possibilities. A crypt door guarded by 2 Vasagonian warriors, and a flight of marble steps descending into the earth beneath 2 columns of fractured pillars. So there's the guys that are guarding the crypt door. If you wish to enter the temple through the guarded crypt door, if you wish to try to enter the temple via the unguarded marble stair. All right, guys, what do you think? Are we going through the crypt door, or are we going down the marble stairs? Guarded door is going to be interesting, obviously, because it's guarded and we don't really have any way to disguise ourselves. But because the guard's there, it does then give you the thought that maybe that is the entrance. Marcus is saying, see if we can fake it past the guards. That's not a bad idea. See if we can fake it past the... Eric says, crypt door. Marcus is saying, fake it past the guards. Marcus is joining us from Singapore. Thank you very much, Marcus. Eric is joining us from the US. Thank you very much, Eric. I believe Jason Chu is also from Malaysia or Singapore. I can't remember. Marcus might be in Singapore, actually. But it's good to see that we've got a few of our international friends here as well. Crypt door. Okay, let's try and fake it. Let's try and fake it past the guards. You manage to reach a tangle of briars growing near the crypt's door, and from here you can observe the Vasconian guards undetected. More soldiers appear on horseback riding into Marken from the north. They dismount and approach the door. Password, shouts the crypt guards. Lon, or Lon, rather. Lon, reply the soldiers. The door opens and they are allowed to enter. Armed with the password, you decide to try and enter in the same way. Keeping the hood of your cloak raised and your surrounding features in the shadow, you walk boldly towards the guards. Pick a number from the random table. If you have the Kai discipline of camouflage, add 4 to the number you have picked. Alrighty. So let's hope this works as we bluff our way through. Oh. 6. Okay, this might not work. The guards are not fooled by your bravado. They draw their weapons and attack. You must fight them as one enemy. Well, at least it wasn't an insta-kill like they capture you or anything. So they got a combat skill of 18. They got endurance points of 30. So we go table of contents, combat results table. So our combat skill is 29. Theirs is 18, so that's a difference of 11. So these guys have been pretty good. Like, we've been pretty good. We haven't met anyone that's been a hard task. I dare say when we get to the end of this book, the bad guy is going to be a hard task. So let's roll a number and see where we go for the battle. Okay, so 6. 6, we lose 1 point, they lose 16, so they're down to 14 points. We lose 1 point, we're down to 29. Roll the dice again. 4. So 4, we lose 2, they lose 12. So they're down to 2. We lose 2, we're down to 27. So let's roll the dice again. This is the first time we've had a battle that's... no, second time that's... no, first time that's lasted more than 2 rounds. 0! There we go, instant kill. There you go, Jason. You're not wrong. The dice are loaded. Let's come back out of here to the section. If you win the combat, 229. You drag the bodies into the thorny briars and conceal them before entering the crypt door. Once inside, you close the door behind you and follow a wide torch-lit corridor towards the east. This is a non-combat section, so I'm going to take the chance to heal myself 1 point, so we're on 28. Turn to 235. The corridor ends at a flight of steps that descends 100 feet into the earth. Descends, not ascends, descends 100 feet into the earth. At the bottom, a short passage leads to a junction where a tunnel runs from north to south. To the north, you can see a torch-lit cavern with what appears to be observation slits carved into the wall. To the south, a passage leads to a low balcony. Cavern or balcony? Alrighty. Sorry, Jason, you're in Singapore. My apologies, mate. Very cool profile pic you've got there too, Transformers. Love it. Ian, no need to carry Lamso. This guy never takes serious wounds. That's very true. Occasionally it does happen. It's always good to have some on hand, but it's a very good point. Marcus says, I love balconies. Eric says, something tells me you should use a Lamspore potion. Well, we're missing 4 points. Maybe we should. Maybe that's not a bad idea. And that way we're healed ourselves back up. I'm going to take Eric's idea. We'll little thumb our nose at Ian, who said no. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. So we'll use the lamp spur that's worth 4 endurance points will bring our total back up to 32. So we're good for that. Marcus says, let's go to the balcony. If anyone else has any objections or ideas, let's go to the balcony. So, balcony. An empty feeling grips your stomach as you stare upon the altar and inner sanctum of the subterranean temple. Your Kai senses burn as if every nerve in your body is screaming a warning to flee from this evil chamber. Huge braziers of molten metal encircle a black altar upon which lies fair Madelon, the daughter of Baron Vaneland. She seems to be entranced. Her breathing is slow and shallow. Beyond the altar lie 2 massive doors, a gigantic skull engraved upon their black stone surface. Out of your view, another door opens and a procession of red-cloaked priests enter the temple. Their heads are covered and they each carry strange amulets of black stone. They file past the altar, depositing the amulets in a circle around the young girl's body and then file out again in total silence. Then you hear the sound of a distant drumbeat. It grows louder and nearer. The measured steps of steel-shod boots resound in its wake. Baraka is approaching. So there's that looks like the flag for either Baraka or Vashna, probably Vashna, and that looks like one of those priests with the amulets. Turn to 215. Baraka carries the stench of death and decay about him. He strides into the temple, his boots of Gorgaz hide covering both legs and feet, and he slams shut the huge stone door with frightening ease. He stands in silence before pushing open the huge black doors engraved with the menacing skulls. Suddenly, a gale-force wind sweeps through the temple, and your ears are filled by a terrible scream. Beyond the open doors, a pier of stone juts into the abyss of Muckengorge. You are staring into the Chasm of Doom. Baraka turns away from the windswept pier and walks slowly towards the altar. From a hidden scabbard, he removes a twisted black dagger and holds its stiletto blade to the light. An evil blue flame runs up and down the black steel spike, flickering in the ice-cold winds of the Muckengorge. The sacrifice is about to begin. If you wish to draw your weapon and attack Baraka, turn to 296. If you wish to distract his attention from the altar without attacking him, turn to 119. All right, guys, what are we going to do? This looks like we're right on the edge here. We're right up to it. It's about to throw down in the most magnificent style. Are we just going to have at him, or are we going to give him a chance to do an evil monologue? Because, villains always like to do an evil monologue before thinking that they're about to vanquish you. Hopefully they won't vanquish us. But if any thoughts of whether we just straight up draw a weapon and attack, or we try to distract him from the altar without attacking. I'm almost in favor of just straight up attacking this dude, because, it's taken an effort and a half to get here. And I reckon it's time just to throw the smack down on this guy. But if you want to sort of see what he has to say with a bit of a monologue, we can do that. I don't mind. Eric says, "Have at him." I've always loved that expression. Have at him. I'll wait for a beat, and if anyone doesn't have any other plans, I reckon we'll have at him as Eric suggests. I've got the dice ready to go. We'll sit it there on 0 so something tells me that Baraka is going to be a pretty formidable fight. Let's see. Ian says, was it written as staring into a chasm of doom? TM. I don't know if it had the trademark on there. Let's see. Marcus says evil monologue. Lol. I think we should just fight. Yeah. Written as a Chasm of Doom. You are staring into Chasm of Doom. Trademark. Alrighty. Oh, that's hey, we're about to launch into it, and Ian, awesome, mate. You have redeemed yourself. I'm kidding. Aletha. Now, Aletha, we're going to take the Aletha potion, and that's going to give us 4 temporary combat skill points to push us up to 33. Brilliant, Ian. I had forgotten about that. I thought of it earlier when we were going through ditching stuff at Ruanon, but I had forgotten about that. So great idea. Marcus says throw everything we have into the fight. So we're at full health. We've used the Aletha to go from 29 to 33 combat skill. Eric agrees. Great idea. Alrighty, let's have at him. If you possess the Summer Sword, turn to 122. Yes, we do. As you raise your golden sword, the howling wind seems to rise in pitch and intensity. It claws at your mind, filling your head with terrible images of death and horror. Baraka sees you falter and strikes a cruel blow that opens a wound in your cheek. You lose 1 endurance point. So let's mark that. Glad it's not poison. But the sudden pain reawakens you to the presence of your enemy and the combat begins. So Baraka has a combat skill of 25, which would have had a ratio of 4 for us. But yes, we've taken that Aletha, and that means we have a ratio of 8 now. So his combat skill is 25, endurance 29. You are being attacked by a very powerful Mind Blast. I kept forgetting to use Mind Blast. Maybe that's what we're... Yeah. Oops, I kept forgetting that we had Mind Blast and we could use that in some of the prior combats. Not that we really needed it. You are being attacked by a very powerful Mind Blast. Unless you possess the Kai discipline of Mind Shield, your combat skill is reduced by 4 for the duration of the combat. However, Baraka himself is a warrior who possesses formidable strength of will. He is immune to Mind Blast, so we can't use that. If you win the combat 350, here we are. We are down to the wire. And let us begin. So, combat results table. What did I say? 33, take away 25 is 8. So we're on to the second one here. So 7/8 is where we are at. And let's have at him. Vlad says, fight him and pinch his Gorgas boots. I am definitely pinching his Gorgas boots for you, Vlad. We're definitely doing that. Jason says something about holy water. Hashtag spoiler. Yes, there was something in that, but I think I don't think we've hit that point of it. Oh, sorry, got a tickle in my throat and started coughing like crazy there. I just managed to get the mute button. Yeah, holy water, a little spoiler, in a different path to get to this point. Yes, you can use holy water if you've found it. And Marcus says, I always love these momentous fights. Alrighty, so let's have at him. Let's roll the dice. 8. So our combat ratio is 8, and we have rolled 8, which means we lose 0, but he loses 16. Oh, great shot. That means he is down to 13 already. So let's have at him with another 9. Scroll down. So we lose 0 again, and he loses 18, which means we killed him. Look at that. Boss fight for the win. Literally. Boss fight for the win. We have literally killed him in 2 rounds. I remember that fight being a lot tougher. Maybe the Aletha really helped there. Actually, I think it really did, actually. Thank you, Ian. Good point, mate. we almost instant kill Baraka. Not quite, but 3 rounds and we've taken him out. Yeah, I remember him being a lot tougher, but anyway. As Baraka dies, the wind suddenly rises in pitch and intensity, filling the temple with a mournful cry of despair. You feel the chill, malevolent spirit of Dark Lord Vashna engulfing you in an icy embrace, but you sense that he is powerless to harm you. The sacrifice has been foiled. He is doomed to lament for a victory that might have been. Lying on the black temple floor is the dagger of Vashna. As you pick it up and tuck it into your belt, mark it on your action chart. As you pick it up and tuck it into your belt, the evil blue flame flickers and dies. As long as you possess this evil blade, Dark Lord Vashna and his legion of dead warriors will remain imprisoned in the Chasm of Doom. You walk up to Madeline and stab her with the... No, I'm just kidding. You free fair Madeline from the temple, from the altar, and carry her through the corridors of the temple that lead up to the surface. As you emerge into the moonlit ruins, an astounding sight greets your eyes. Baraka's warriors are running from the ghost city in all directions, closely pursued by an army of cavalrymen. The light of the full moon and the guttering torches of these horsemen that these horsemen carry illuminates the sun crest that bedecks their tunics. Word must have reached Holmgard, for they are the sun-lending army led by King Ulna himself. Your countrymen praise your courage and daring, their strident cheers drowning the cry of Muckengorge. For once again you have proved yourself a true hero of Summerlin. As you deliver Madeline into the waiting arms of her father, his overwhelming joy fills you with a sense of great achievement. You are indeed worthy of the title Kai Lord. You have succeeded in your perilous quest, but the epic saga of Lone Wolf, Last of the Kai Lords, is far from complete. A new and deadly challenge awaits you in Book 5 of the Lone Wolf series, entitled Shadow on the Sand. So there's the Marken there's the Marken ruins. There's a Vasconian warrior who looks like he is yeeting, as the young ones will say, and there is the standard of the king of his lead cavalryman there. That's always been one of my favourite pictures from Gary Chalk there. Well done, guys. That has been an epic foray into doom, gloom, and fun. So, yeah, Lone Wolf on drugs takes out Baraka on drugs. Yeah, no, that's right. He was on some in the novel. There's a bit more fun and game in the novel with that sort of thing. I'm not sure why my camera stopped working. That's weird. I just sort of flicked from the reading section back to this section where I can see everyone, and it just all of a sudden I'm not there. So I'm not sure how or what or where. I'm glad this headset still works and you're able to read along with me. Thank you very much for joining me. We've done that in just under 3 hours. So big pat on the back. Usually it runs over. I didn't want to run over too far because, I did tell HawaiiCon that we would stick to 3 hours. So let's just bring up HawaiiCon. Thank you very much for having me and hosting me, HawaiiCon. This has been the Antipodean Presents Let's Read Lone Wolf Book 4, The Chasm of Doom. Ian says, awesome rendition by... thank you very much, Ian. Appreciate. I'm happy to give the time, and I appreciate people dropping past or staying for the read. Eric, thank you very much. Marcus, thank you very much. Jason, thank you very much. Vlad, thank you very much. Who else did we have pop through the course of it? I'm just scrolling back up through the comments. I don't want to miss anyone. Mark from Wisconsin. Thank you, Mark. Oberon was in there. He's in Tasmania. Thank you very much. He didn't stick around because he's just reading through book 3 and doesn't want any spoilers for when he does book 4 himself. I can understand that. So yes, Eric, Mark, Ian, Oberon, Jason, Eric, I think I said Eric already, Marcus, everyone, thank you very much for staying with us as we read through. Jason, yes, thanks. Stay healthy, you too, buddy. You too. Alrighty. That and we're coming up on pretty much 3 hours. Thank you very much, everyone. My name's Heath. This is the Antipodean D20. Wherever you're in the world, hope you're having a great morning. Have a great day. Have a great afternoon. Have a great day. Wherever you are in the world, have a great day. If you're not a shift worker and you're up and it's 2 a.m. and you've been watching, you get a free pass. But if not, go to bed. Alrighty. Thank you very much for joining me and have a wonderful day. Thank you.